Welcome, everybody. It Tastes Different Gaming News. What's on the news today? Microsoft CFO wants to turn Xbox into a subscription business. So, like a fart in the wind, you might as well kiss the consoles goodbye after the next generation. So, Microsoft CFO said she wants to turn Xbox to a subscription business and said she's encouraged by the progress that Xbox Game Pass is showing. Microsoft just reported its sales data for the final quarter of the current financial year, as reported by Games Industry Biz. The figures showed that Microsoft gaming revenue is up by 44% compared to the same period last year, while revenue from Xbox content and services is up 61% compared to the same financial quarter from the previous year. That's why they had to fire all those people and raise prices, because profits were up. Can't have that now. In an investor's call following the report, Microsoft Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood, that sounds about right, was asked how investors should think about the growth of Microsoft's gaming business. I do think the real goal is to be able to take a broad set of content to more users in more places and really build what looks like more to us. The software annuity and subscription business, Hood responded. That's a long way of Hood saying that Microsoft wants to focus more on subscriptions, Game Pass and all that junk. So as we've talked about here recently with the upcoming changes to Game Pass, raises in prices to Game Pass, and basically, Xbox is getting their asses handed to them on console sales. Microsoft is basically just doubling down on the subscription service. Now, me and Pat were talking about how this report of the revenue was done prior to the layoffs and price increases and Game Pass changes. So I got a feeling this is going to change next quarter, in my opinion. So let's jump to Pat so he can kind of delve into what we were talking about off the air here. And I apologize for my appearance. I am not John Cena, but apparently I am Pixel Man. So, Pat, what do you think, bud?
Well, Microsoft was happy with all the revenue until this debacle that they've decided to put themselves into by raising the price, adding more plan tiers, and just confusing the shit out of the services they offer. You know, like certain plans have online play and some don't, and you're just like, what the hell are they doing? Like Console Core is missing missing the online multiplayer aspect of it, and it's like, in what world does some of these things make sense? And then them, talking about adding in additional plans and stuff like that for streaming and things like that, and it's just all they're doing is alienating the fan base, and I'm going to laugh my ass off when the next quarter, when they're like, we're all in on streaming, and streaming's down 40%, or Game Pass is down 40%. What happened? Well, you don't know how to read the room, Microsoft, because you're screwing it up. All that goodwill and favor that you've gained with gamers, you are now flushing it down the toilet because, it's almost like their mantra these days, before Phil Spencer came along, they just shat all over the users and expected them all to take it because, they had a really good run with the 360 and they were living high on the hog, and then they pissed off all their gamers and they weren't coming back. And now, Phil came in and gave everybody the warm fuzzies, and now he's just pigeoning it all up. He's just flying over everything and shitting on it all. And, so he is basically full circle back where they are, and their streaming, their Game Pass service is going to take a dive because you can't raise rates by the thing you're doing and split the plans the way you've done without losing some subscriber base. So I think they're in for a big world of news the next revenue quarter when they realize, oh crap, September came along, all these prices went up, and we lost a good chunk of Game Pass subscribers because we're too stupid to realize that we raised rates last year. We're raising rates this year. And then we're going to split the plans up even more for the streaming service that we want to do. at this point, Microsoft can take the pineapple and choke on it because I'm done with it. I've canceled my Game Pass subscription. I don't plan to renew it except for when a new game comes out that they publish. It'll be on day one, and I will subscribe for the month, pay my little bit of money, and then unsubscribe. So they're not getting game revenue from me except for the piddly $10 or whatever I decide that I'm going to pay if it's going to be on PC or console, and that's it. So they're not going to get their $60 or $70 for the game out of me. They're going to get like they're going to get like $10 out of me or $10 or $12 out of me instead of that. And I'm not going to be subscribed for the most of the year. So they'll get it 2 or 3 times out of me out of the year, not even the cost of a full game. So Microsoft, stick that in your pipe and smoke it because I'm done with you bunch of douchebags. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I told you so. Sort of. Not to toot my own horn here. I kind of did bring this up a while back. Looking at the direction that Microsoft was going, I figured that, I know there was I think a video that was pretty long about it. It was me ranting, but it was basically me trying to convey the fact that, they're going to turn Xbox into Xbox as a service, right? More than a platform. And I was trying to convey that correctly to say, like, not what you think of it today, but more of like, Xbox is not a physical platform, a thing that you have sitting on. It is a service. It is a all-encompassing, broad, Xbox is everything type of thing, right? It's not just the console itself. It's anything and everything is Xbox. And that seems like the route that they're wanting to take it, right? And the kind of the writing was on the wall for that. Now they haven't 100% done that yet, but I just feel like I still think that's the direction they're headed, and all signs point to yes so far for that. But yeah, I mean, this is what happens, and we've talked about it before. This is what happens when you have investors, right? Because investors are good in some senses, because of the influx of money, but then they have a seat at the table and they're like, okay, this is what we want, and this is the direction we see things. But the thing about investors in most cases is they're completely out of the loop when it comes to what the consumer wants. They're just looking at the bottom line of, well, how can we make more money, right? Oh, we can raise rates. We can turn it into this. We can do that. But the consumer base is not asking for any of that, right? And the consumer base doesn't want any of that. So they turn to that and they go, and it fails in most cases. And then they go, wonder what happened. I can tell you what happened. You listen to the people that aren't there. They're not there. Like, I feel like, in a sense, yes, investors want the thing to prosper because they want to continue to make money. But at the same time, they're looking for a quick fix. They're looking for something that will quickly make them cash. And if they have to bow out, then they will, right? And they're not looking at the long term. And so then you have bad things like this happen where you take something like Xbox and you point it in the worst or the wrong direction. And that's what they've done here, like I said, we talked about Xbox last time. We've talked about it quite a bit with Game Pass and everything like that, and raising the rates and all the, just like Pat was saying, with all the different services. We even talked about, me and Pat talked about last time, how they might be introducing additional Game Pass subscription models, right? And so, yeah, I've always give Microsoft and Xbox the benefit of the doubt, but at this point, I'm practically done giving them the benefit of the doubt. Phil did turn the boat around a little bit, but like Pat said, he's just flying over crap and all everything. And I'm just tired of giving Xbox the benefit of the doubt. Like, I don't want them to go away, but at this point, I don't really care. So, it's just like, I don't want Sony to be the only option as far as console gaming goes. I mean, I know we have Nintendo as well, right? But I don't feel like they're competing with one another. So I don't want Sony's competition, their main competition, which is Xbox, to go away. I'm not saying that, but Microsoft is not doing themselves any favors in that area. So, and for a consumer side of things, again, they're not doing any favors for the consumer. They have great controllers. They have some things on their side that are great. Game Pass is a great, the thought of Game Pass is a great idea and a great system. Their controllers are great. Their networking infrastructure is really good for the most part on Xbox and stuff like that. But, besides that, they're not offering, I don't feel like they're offering the consumer much more than that, right? Whereas, the competition and like other places, depending on what you have, you can get the same thing or something better. Like me and Pat were talking about before, like besides having a console, like if you have a high-end PC, a PlayStation and a Switch, there's no point in owning an Xbox. There just isn't. Because everything that comes out on Xbox comes out on PC. The Xbox did that, right? And that's cool. That's nice and consumer friendly. But it kind of diminishes having the console, right? Then there's no point in having the console. You could say, well, I want to sit down at my TV and sit back and relax. Well, you can still do that on your PC. Just HDMI it into your TV and sit back and grab a controller and play, right? So you can still perform all these actions the same way. So yeah, I mean, and they're not doing anything for me, and I think for a lot of gamers out there, they're not giving them any, anything to really grab onto anymore. I feel like so. Like I said, I still have Game Pass, but I only have a Game Pass for PC. It's the only model I have currently. So, I don't know how long I'll keep that, but that's what I currently have for them. But we'll just see what they do in the future. But this is not the direction to go. I feel like they're just shooting themselves in the foot doing all this stuff. But what do you think, Shane?
I couldn't disagree with anything you guys said. It's just, like Pat was saying, Phil Spencer, and like you said, Phil Spencer did a lot of good. He really fixed a lot of non-metric BS. He gave Xbox fans more confidence about the platform. Even though, their games library really hasn't increased at, that much, if any, in a year by year basis. But now it's one almost lie after another, followed by more bad news after more bad news. And, and what really bothers me is I haven't come across anything from Phil Spencer coming out and, to any of these websites or tube channels, providing any reassurance, confidence, defense like he used to do. He used to, when something bad would come up, he would come right out. We'd be on an interview saying, "Look, this is, I don't like it." When they first did their first run of layoffs, I didn't want to, but it's the nature of the business. Blah blah blah. I still hated the fact that they laid people off, but the fact that he was out there trying to say something, and give credence to why the situation happened. That that at least shows me that he was out there trying to keep the confidence. Now I don't see anything. I haven't really delved into it too much on this last few rounds of BS regarding the layoffs and price increases and all that. But he's, I don't know if it's the boss above him or him himself, but that's all gone. And I'm the last holder out here. Pat got rid of it completely. Nick is just keeping the PC. I'm still keeping on my Ultimate. My kids still have their Ultimate, but that's probably going to be changing soon. And
I canceled both Ultimates, mine and my kids, so they're losing out on both accounts now. This one, and
see, that's what this report for this last financial report isn't going to show. That isn't going to show the anger they've developed. It isn't going to show the gamers that are done with it. But like Nick said, I don't want just Sony. That'll be a disaster for the gaming industry if it's just Sony. Plain and simple. Innovation gone. Price gouging is going to go through the frickin' roof. It's going to get nuts. And I think the only people that are going to really make it out of that is purely PC gamers. So, and then, PC gamers are going to get gouged if Sony goes out because somebody wants to pay $80, $90, $100 games. So it's going to be a disaster. This is really, really a bad thing that Microsoft is doing, and it's going to snowball, avalanche, what do you want to call it, into more and more problems. So, it's a load of crap, and subscription services are destroying so many things. I don't know who really started the trend between cell phones and frickin' Netflix, but somebody needs their knuckles cracked because everything. I mean, we have talked about some of the dumbest stuff wanting subscription services. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about one later that we cannot freaking believe. One of the car companies, hey, you're going to have to pay a subscription service to heat your goddamn seats. The technology's there, but you're going to pay a little extra. So, I mean, it's a load of crap. Subscriptions are ruining everything. I love Game Pass. When it first came out, it was cool. And then they started really getting it down better with more games, more quality games, more variety of games. And all of us were loving it. And then it's evolved into this peanut-ridden turd that Microsoft will not stop messing with. And it's scary. And everybody's doing it now. Sony's got theirs. Nintendo's got theirs. Does Steam have one? I'm not sure Steam has one, but they will. Everybody's going to have one. I mean, your phone company's got it. Your TV people got it. Your car people. I think Tesla, you have to pay subscription services for some of the features in those cars. So it's just getting ridiculous. Too many subscriptions for too damn many things, for things that really are not worth it in the long run. So, but I could go on and on and on about how subscription services suck, but I'm pretty sure society has already realized that. Problem is, are we realizing it too late and we're stuck with it? So, but you guys have anything else before I unsubscribe from Microsoft?
Nope, I already did. Good luck, Phil, with getting that pineapple out.
Yep. You might twist it to the left if you're in the northern the northern hemisphere, to the right if you're in the southern, might help.
Yep.
Like a toilet flush.
I said, I think more people are going to feel that way, that they don't want to pay. We just got a price increase last year. It went to
it wasn't even a full year.
Yeah, not quite yet. And now it's up to $19.99, I think is what it's supposed to go to. And I'm like, no, hell no. You want $3 more from me, but offer nothing. No, you have not upgraded your services. Yeah, you've reduced my services, right? Yeah. You basically have, and you want me to pay $3 more per plan, and you offered me no added value. Yeah. So
it's the new Call of Duty ever. You cannot get on standard Game Pass. You have to have the Ultimate, I believe it is.
Which is like Phil Spencer essentially lied through that whole damn thing, yes, right? Like when people are saying that one of two things is going to happen with Call of Duty, it's not going to come to Game Pass, or they're going to raise the price to basically afford for it to come to Game Pass. And Phil Spencer came out and said, it is coming to Game Pass, and we're not raising the rates for it coming to Game Pass. And then bullshit, Phil Spencer's nose grew 6 inches, because he stuck it up his own ass and raised the rates $3, on top of the Ultimate. And I'm like, and that's the only way you're getting it, right? Yep. Is Ultimate. So at that same time, Phil Spencer can just sit and spin. He's a douchebag, and he gets what he deserves. And he's running that company. He's so silent. If it's not him, I understand that you have to Northwind all the upper management's deals, but he is essentially Northwind, right? So Satya Nadella is like over him and everything like that. But Phil Spencer is just quiet, and that just makes me even madder. That's piss poor leadership right there.
Yes. Yeah. And especially when he's done such a great job at being out there, being the front man, being the guy that, not just Xbox gamers, but, gamers in general, we're like this, this guy's good. We like what he's trying to do. He fails some, he wins some, but now he's just failing everything. And quiet on the home front isn't helping them. So I don't want them to lose their ass on this, but I also do as well. It's a double-edged sword. I think either way, we're all going to lose. And I mean gamers in general. So.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, what can you do, right? I mean, but with your wallet, and I don't mind subscription services. I honestly don't, in the right context. Like, a gaming subscription service sounds great as long as there is something to play, right?
Yeah.
And then doing it right. Like I felt Microsoft did it right, but at the same time, you can't keep raising your rates and expect everybody to hang around because that's not going to happen, you know. And
Call of
Sony
Duty
not
wasn't
putting
worth
first
it.
party. No, I don't play Call of Duty. You guys know me. I could give a shit about Call of Duty. That's not my bag, not my jam. I could give a rat's ass about that game. I know it's a big money maker for them and cool to people who love it. Cool, that's your jam. But at the same time, Call of Duty is not a console seller. It doesn't even twitch my eyebrow. I'm like, oh, it's another Call of Duty. We get one every year. It'll be twice a year release before we realize it. And then it's going to be quarterly release. We're going to get 4 Call of Duties a year. Where everybody's freaking vomiting Call of Duty.
It's going to be one continuous season.
Yeah.
Is what's going to happen.
That's what they're going to end up doing, right? It's, you know, because they do some seasonal stuff, but it's just going to be like, instead of making new Call of Duties, we're just going to roll out continuous seasons and we're going to charge you for these battle passes. And, you know, everybody does.
And it's all created by AI now. So
yeah,
we didn't have to do any work, but we're raising the freaking prices. So,
right. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't mind subscriptions in the right light. And they have to be, in my opinion, they have to be value added and worth the price. There are certain services that, you know, Microsoft and Netflix are basically going in the same direction and making themselves go the way of Blockbuster, you know, because you can't get with the times and all you want to do is raise the rate, you know. But Microsoft was not too long ago just touting how much profit they were making off of the service and how it increases and everything. It's like, okay, cool. You're making a lot more money in pricing and you're making more money off Game Pass, but now you're going to raise the rates. In what world does that make sense? And it's the corporate greed world is where that makes sense, right? We got to get year over year. We got to have increase of revenue, 9%, 6%, whatever the percentage of increase is. And then when you have bad years, you're like, oh, we got to raise rates to make up for that bad previous year. No, you have to keep your player base or else your attrition is going to kill you. And that's what's going to happen. Attrition is going to kill them. It's going to topple Game Pass service. They're going to be out of the console market and they're just going to go tits up. And then I won't shed a tear for him. And I'm going to laugh as Phil Spencer gets kicked out the door and be like, well, you know, so long. You should have done better, you know, and whatever. But they're gonna knock themselves out the door, and it's just going to be Sony, and we're all going to be in trouble.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
I think it was like mainly, you know, the investors said we put Call of Duty on there, and they're like, "Oh, raise the rates." My kid likes Call of Duty. That was the discussion, right?
Yeah,
that was because I'm with Pat, right? Like, I'm Call of Duty's fine and all, but like, you putting Call of Duty on Game Pass for me is like, I don't give a crap. Like, put something on there that I'm really interested in playing, because another Call of Duty for another year, it's like Assassin's Creed. I'm not interested in playing the next variation of every single game that comes out annually, right? It's the same game as it was last year and the year before that, the year before that. So I don't care that Call of Duty, but they're riding on Call of Duty coming to Game Pass, right? They're thinking in their minds, and it may, I don't know. I mean, Call of Duty still sells a lot, so it may bolster them. But if it does, unfortunately, I feel like Game Pass is going to ride on those Call of Duty players, and that's it, right? That's it. It's revenue and it's funds, and it's like the service itself is going to ride on Call of Duty. It's going to be basically Call of Duty Game Pass, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's going to have their own. It's going to have a new fucking tier. Pardon my language.
Right.
It's going to have a new freaking tier.
It probably
Game
will.
Pass, Core, Ultimate,
Call of Duty,
Redfall. Bullshit.
That's at the bottom.
That's the core.
That's the core. That's below the core.
Below the core.
Xbox hemorrhaging.
That's the
Xbox
crust.
freaking clown shoes is what they are.
Yep. Subscription services. We've kind of gotten off on a tangent about Xbox in general, but these are the types of things that are just going to destroy Microsoft. Xbox, I should say, because people are going to get fed up. I mean, Netflix lost a pretty good share on those last couple, subscription changes they did. And I don't want Microsoft to go down because it just leaves PlayStation. But, Apple or Sega or Amazon, someone's got to come up with something when Microsoft goes.
Amazon already has a device. It's called.
That's a piece of shit. Nobody wants it. Pardon my language.
Come on, Sega. Bring back the
Come
Dreamcast.
on, Sega. Dreamcast 2. It's Dreamcastier.
Just cut Microsoft off at the knees. It's the Dreamcast 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, Dreamcast
The
1.
Dreamcast Series 1.
Yes. The wet Dreamcast 1. All right. Well, you guys have anything else before we get off on another tangent? All right. Well, you made it to the end. Phil Spencer sucks still. Tell us what you think about that. What do you think about all the changes that are happening at Microsoft? The subscriptions, the consoles, just the overall anti-consumerism that they're seeming to hit more and more. We used to complain about this about Sony because they're very anti-consumer, but they do other things right. That's how they're staying where they're at. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, make sure you hit the notifications, the subscriptions, all those good things, and we'll see you next time. See ya.